All right. Good evening, everyone. We'll call the Olivet City Council meeting on August 25th, 2026 to order, please. Can we please have roll call?
Mayor Lewis,
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashan Hellman,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Here.
Councilmember Jurgel.
Here.
All righty. Are there any communications to share at this time?
I have no written communications.
All right. We'll move on to item number 3, City Manager's report, please.
Good evening. Let me share my screen.
We were late, so sorry.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I have a number of upcoming events. We are winding up summer and fall is always super busy for us. So we encourage everybody to come out to Paris Baguette August 31st, which is next Monday, between 8 and 10 a.m. in the morning to meet with one of our police officers. So Coffee with a Cop will be during that time. There will be coffee and some limited free pastries. So if you have not had a chance to try a pastry at Paris Baguette, this would be a great opportunity to do that, as well as come talk to one of Olivet's finest. And September 15th is Olivet Night Out. So this is an opportunity for you and your neighbors to gather, to have a block party. And then if you sign up, some Olivet city officials, including the police officers, the fire department, you might get the fire truck or the ambulance to come and to stop by and to say hello. Meet and greet with our Olivet community. So we would encourage all of the neighbors to go ahead and sign up. If you have questions, please reach out to Lieutenant Seltzer in the police department. And every year we do the Battle of the Badges, which is a competition between the fire department and the police department. It is essentially a blood drive for the American Red Cross. And both our fire department and our police department have compelling stories, personal stories about grandchildren and their need for blood, hence the blood drive. And so individuals who come and donate blood are given an opportunity to cast a vote for either the police department or the fire department. And at the end of the drive, the winning department receives some gift from the losing department. The fire department has more years that they have won than the police department. So come out, donate for a good cause to the American Red Cross, and then choose which public safety group is your favorite. Trivia Night is being hosted at Five Oaks on September 18th. There are 9 tables left. So bring your friends for a table of 8. The theme this year is 90s and 2000s sitcoms. So there should be something for everyone. Register for your table. We hope to see you there. I think there's at least one staff table. And I think a couple other folks have gotten tables for the trivia night. The Great Olivet Cleanout is happening again. It is at Five Oaks on Warson. This is a change from Stacy Park. So in years past, it's been at Stacy Park. This year, it is at Five Oaks on Warson. It's on the lower parking lot. So this is an opportunity for residents to either have documents shredded. If you have some of those in your office or your home office, this is not for a business clean out, but if you do have a home office and you have documents that you would like shredded, or if you have any e-waste, so almost anything with a cord, they will take and recycle those for you.
Do you know if it's still a drive-through?
Yes, as far as I know, it is still a drive-through, and so there is a very specific route for you to come through. They will take the items out of your vehicle. It's very easy. You should be in and out in not much time at all. So, and we did receive the grant. So we've signed off on that and we did receive the grant for this. The fall and winter activity guide is out. These are all of the recreational programs that the city is offering through the fall and the winter. We have some hard copies out in the lobby if you would like. It's also on the city's website and should actually be in homes already. So we would encourage you to check those out. We have activities for all ages. And then I just always encourage everyone to sign up for Olivet Weekly, which is our weekly e-newsletter. And then just some general city updates. Our new finance director, Julio Gwynn, starts tomorrow. So we probably in September we will be bringing her to council to introduce her. We are recruiting for another police officer. 2 weeks ago, I told you that we had made conditional offers to 2 individuals. One of them accepted. They are in the pre-employment screening phase. The other candidate decided that he was going to remain at his place of employment. And then the follow-up from the Hicks Carter Hicks, the Employment Engagement Committee is meeting this week. They're going to start working on employee recognition. And then I have asked Hicks Carter Hicks to craft a proposal to help the city with an internal communications plan. One of the comments and areas of deficiency on the survey was communication, and that's a pretty broad topic. And so I do think working with them to create and improve some of our internal communications is a good start to making headway on that survey result.
Are they gonna talk to employees to understand kind of like what I know they have the survey results, but to understand like where they saw gaps in communication, will they have those conversations before they craft?
They're going to craft me a proposal to do it. So like we'll get a scope of work.
Oh, proposal to even reach out and talk to people. Gotcha.
Correct.
Not build the plan and then say, okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And then here are your upcoming meeting dates. And so with that, I can answer any council questions.
Questions? No? All right. Thank you very much. All right, we are going to move on to staff reports, please, then.
All right, starting with fire department. So we often talk about the fire department and their firefighting training and their calls for fire, but I thought this month we might just kind of highlight the fact that they do run an ambulance, and that takes a good amount of their time. They actually run quite a few medical calls. So just looking at this chart, this is on average about 5 calls a day that they're running. As you can see, they spend a lot of time in the city of Olivet, but we are also contracted for fire service, fire and EMS service for the pocket of unincorporated that's just north of us on Dealman. So we respond there. St. Louis County contracts with us, pays us to provide that service to them. And then we do get called out of town often to Creve Coeur or U City or certain things on the highway we might get called out for both police and or for EMS and fire. Parks and Rec. We just finished earlier this month Municipals. So Municipals is this part of this photo right here, is offered every other year, and it is a camp that highlights the city departments. So the police department had a day and brought out the mounted patrol from St. Charles County, brought out some therapy dogs, brought out some other fun police things. The fire department had a half a day, and they got to go down the slide in the fire department because we have a slide and not a pole. And they got to do some other fun firefighter things. This particular picture, we had an opportunity to partner with Emerson, who is a business here in the city of Olivet, and they came and did science things with the kids. So they did the egg drop project, learning about gravity and force distribution and things like that. And so the kids had a good time. And then the other thing with the Parks Department, this happens to be the segment, one of the new segments of the Centennial Greenway. So now that that greenway has been in for more than 1 year, maintenance falls to the city. And so this is our horticulturalist and our park staff who are clearing the fence lines along that particular section of the trail. Planning department. So these are fiscal year to date. So from June of 25 through July, July of 25 through June of this year. So as you can see, they were pretty consistent. Lots of people got their roof replaced in this particular fiscal year, most likely from the storm that came through in May of last year. And we see a lot of tenant finishes. So this could be like reinvestment by businesses or new businesses coming in or updates to businesses. So this is a good sign in what has been keeping one aspect of what has been keeping Carlos and his staff very busy over the course of the year. The police department, Officer Bagsby, this is Officer Bagsby here. He went to Athena Healthcare's event talking about gun safety, in particular gun locks. The Olivet Police Department donated 50 gun locks for this particular event. So this is just a reminder that our police department has gun locks available to anyone in the community who is interested. There's no cost, and they are available Monday through Friday, normal business hours. Just go see the records clerk here at City Center if that's something that you are interested. And then Public Works. If you have driven at North Price and Olive, you have seen a lot of work there. This happens to be the contractor. They did some paving overnight. They did a really nice job on that work. The work here at the 9201 Olive site where the CBD Creighton building was, there has been a delay. It is not a delay related to the city. It is a delay because a pipe wasn't as deep as we thought it was. That required some changes to stormwater drains that MoDOT took a long time trying to figure out what they wanted. But work is moving forward. In fact, Spire was on site today moving the gas line that needed to be moved in order to accommodate the storm drain. So we're a little bit behind on where we thought we would be to close out this project, but it is related to situations beyond our control. And then we do have some good news. So as you might recall, we put in for a grant for reconstruction of North Price between Delmar and Old Bonham, an STPS grant. And while we have not received the grant yet, we are on the recommended list. So East West Gateway meets later this week to review that recommended list and hopefully approve that list. And hopefully we will be approved so that we can move forward with reconstruction of that section of North Price. It is a multi-year project, so there will be design time and right-of-way acquisition time and then construction time. So it's looking probably a 3 to 4 year long process. And that is all I have, unless you have any additional questions for me.
Questions, Council? No, it's very thorough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to monthly financial reports, please.
All right. I am filling in for our interim finance director who she had a previously scheduled event this evening. So you are seeing the report for the second month of the year. As you can see, we are on track. General revenue started the year above expectations by about $37,000. General fund expenditures are also above expectations. This is normal. We have a variety of, like all of our insurances are due. So workers' comp, liability, property, all of that is due at the very beginning of the year. So that's not unexpected. It does result in an unfavorable variance, but again, we are, this is the July financial report. So at this point, we were 1 month into the year. It is not unusual for property taxes to be slow. Again, we get those in December and January. And Parks and Rec revenues started the year mixed, and they exceeded budget projections due to high soccer enrollments. So soccer is very, very popular. And then the chart of our month, this is our monthly 1% sales tax, which we took out a bunch of the noise. If you might remember past graphs, there were a lot of lines there. So this is just the last 2 years. So fiscal 25, fiscal 26, and then where we are for 27. So we are, of course, higher than 25 and a little bit below of 26. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those for
Do
you.
we anticipate a drop off, or I don't remember what the drop off, yeah.
We don't anticipate the drop off, but I will say sales tax tends to be cyclical. So anything that we receive in September is actually from people buying things in July because it's always a 2-month lag. So it could also be July is half the year and a quarter of the year. And so there are certain entities that only report sales tax half of the way through the year and a quarter of the way through the year. So that drop off could have been somebody missed the cutoff. So there are a variety of factors that could account for that.
But it bounced back up. Bounced back up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Particularly if it's they just miss the cutoff, because then you get you get it the next month. So that's all I have unless you have anything else.
No. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to city council liaison reports for each council member to give an update of kind of activities they've been up to. Council member Clark.
I have no reports at this time.
Council member Jurgel.
We had a parks meeting. Most of the meeting was the installation of 2 new commissioners. So it's kind of orienting them to the process. And it was great going through it again because they went over all of city government. And I know I was given the training beforehand, but when you hear it the second time, it sinks in a little bit more. So that's always good. One other thing that's coming up with the parks is going to be the review of the Indian Meadows Pavilion. So that's on their agenda and should be moving along.
Great. Council member Solomon.
No report for me this evening. I do have an EDC meeting next Monday.
You're mixed up.
It's on.
Oh, it's just fine. Oh, the light is hit. My mistake. It's my first day. All right. Chairman Pro Tem.
I attended the PCDC meeting on August 20th, and at that meeting, an outdoor metal canopy was approved for the Brass Tap to help extend the seasons for them and extend some seating outside during the wintertime months. So that was approved. And that the roof of that structure will stay throughout the year, but then there's a wall kind of enclosure that's temporary for the months of November through February. We also continued discussing a text amendment for coin-operated laundromats. And a new single-family home was approved for 1123 Hilltop. And also had discussion on a text amendment to allow for other warehousing and storage that would be specifically for car condominiums. So these are spaces that would be condominiums that would be sold to individuals who would likely store their luxury cars, potentially RVs and boats, but they would be individual condominiums. So kind of a new thing coming before the commission, and so it's at the discussion stage at this point. And that's all. Thank you.
Great. A couple of things. I had the privilege of speaking Chamber of Commerce for the State of the City, and it's an opportunity where I get to go and give a state of the city of how we're doing from an economic and residential and development and just how we're overall, what is all of that, and get to brag on all of that, which was very exciting. And a big thank you to staff, Kiana and others for helping, draft things, put together a great slideshow, and it was, really well received and get to meet some people there. So that was really nice. And then today I attended the Olivet Housing Authority, where they had a few procedural items, reviewing the financial audit reports, approving other things, talking about next steps on everything around some of the policies we're moving forward on the housing. So that is progressing as well. And then, yeah, those were things that I got to attend. So, we'll move on to item 7, items from council members. So a chance for us, just if we've been hearing things that you want to bring up for a future topic, we won't go deep into them now, and just a open forum. So no, nope.
Nothing for me.
All right. No.
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me either.
The only things I'll mention, since not everyone probably was able to attend previous meetings we've had, and since I see a lot of speakers here, which is going to be great, is we did at a previous work session a few weeks ago discuss the Indian Meadows Pavilion, and as Councilmember Jogal mentioned, that's going to come before Parks and Rec, where we asked to go back to ask for their assessment, and then it'll come back to the council at that point. And we'd given the direction to look at what it would take to remove and what their thoughts were, and then we'll get their feedback on that. Previous meeting, we'd obviously discussed flock cameras with the chief of police, and so that'll be on a future agenda. So just calling that out, as well as the NID policy will be on a future agenda in the future as well. And then obviously I did get some communications on AZZ. I imagine people here to speak as well, and so appreciated that. I'd committed back that we're going to meet with our legal team to understand what options all of it has, because it is a unique situation. And then happy to meet with the concerned citizens themselves, and any councilor welcome to join me to want to hear everyone's concerns in person and understand everything. And then after that, we'll take whatever the appropriate actions that we can, and don't know what those are right now. Can't promise anything, but want to hear from everyone, and then we'll see what comes of that. So, all right, we're going to move on to hearing from citizens. So this is a portion of the agenda where anyone present in person or virtually may address the city council regarding any topic, including those later in the agenda. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes to address the mayor and city council. Hearing from citizens is designed for councils to receive feedback rather than for a direct dialogue. We will take speakers in person first, followed by any online. If you are in person, please complete a speaker card and give it to the clerk. If you've already given your card to the clerk, we'll take you in the order submitted on your card. If you are online and wish to speak, please use the raise your hand feature, and you will be added as a speaker. For all speakers, we ask that you state your name and address for the record prior to leaving your remarks, and that you keep to 3 minutes, and just so for the equity for everyone. So first are Nancy and Bob Martin, please. And if you don't mind turning on the mic, please. Yep. Perfect.
Good evening. My name is Bob Martin,
Nancy Martin.
and we live at 39 Branford. Last week, we sent all you guys an email regarding AZZ and a Missouri state statute. This is concerning AZZ galvanizing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for responding.
Yes.
Following are excerpts from the Missouri State Chapter 220 nuisances. A nuisance is any act done or committed or suffered to be done, committed by any person or any substance or thing kept, maintained, placed, or found in any public or private property that is injurious to the public health, safety, or welfare, or to permit premises to become unsightly, unsanitary, or obnoxious, or a blight to the vicinity, or offensive to the senses of users of the public way abutting the premises, that depreciates the enjoyment and the use of the property in the immediate vicinity to such an extent that it is harmful to the community in which the property is situated, or such a condition exists. AZZ galvanizing fits every one of these definitions of a nuisance. It's zoned light industrial, but it's expanded several times over the years. It's not light industrial anymore. We are asking Olivet to protect its citizens from this nuisance and use statute title 7, Cities, Towns, and Villages, Chapter 71.780 nuisances, expensive suppression, how paid. The noise and toxic emissions are unbearable and hazardous to our neighbors' health and quality of life and ours. We are sleeping in our bedroom that faces away from AZZ because we can't sleep in our master bedroom anymore from the noise. We can't enjoy our beautiful yard. We've lived in Olivet for 32 years. It's home.
Please help us.
Please help us. They're getting worse and worse. And we're up on Branford High where the noise really hits us. But our neighbors in Indian Meadows are just getting creamed. They're getting gassed. It's terrible.
Thank you very much for coming. Really
Thank
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Ginny Littleton.
Hi, my name is Jenny Littleton. I live at 9639 Huron Drive. I just want to ask my city council if they would please support and help all of the residents deal with this nuisance AZ galvanizing. It's to the point where my son, who's 7, he's beginning to have temper tantrums because he has a trampoline, a basketball hoop, a soccer net that now he can't play because when he begins to play, I have to make him come in. And so now he's getting upset, stumping, yelling in the house. What's the purpose of me having this if I can't play? When are they going to move that company? He's 7 years old. It's to the point where he doesn't have temper tantrum. Now he's having them because he's not getting to play outside. And this was for the summer. So I had to make fun activities in my basement. So, I mean, now the children, it's to the point where I'm asking the kids in my subdivision, you guys got to go home now. You can't play here. Can we come back when the smoke is gone? Yes, you can come back. So now the kids, it's just getting to be too much. And then also I know you brought up about you're going to bring it up with the parks and you guys are going to rediscuss about the pavilion. Please move that pavilion. There's so much going on that my son is 7. He said, there's always something going on over here at this pavilion. Problems every day. He's 7. There was a time he didn't know anything about that. Now he's 7 and he's saying these things. And one of the neighbors, she couldn't be here today. She did ask me, until you guys decide about how you're going to move it, would you please at least move the tables underneath the pavilion while you guys are trying to figure out how you're going to move that pavilion? So until you have a due date when you're going to move it, could you please at least move the tables? Because a lot of that buffoonery that happens in the morning, afternoon, and night, they won't have anywhere to sit and lay and do all of that extra activity that's unwanted and that we don't need. So I just wanted to ask you guys, would you please bless our community to help all the residents dealing with AZ galvanizing and the nuisance unwanted pavilion, please? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming. All right. Wilhelmina Shackelford, please.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Wilhelmina Shackelford, 9656 Huron. First, I'm in agreement with Nancy and Bob. It is horrible. And lately, it's just roars so loud. 3 a.m., 4 o'clock, it wakes you up. And then you can't go back to sleep. They'll turn it off or turn it down maybe about 7:30, I guess, when they figure people or whatever's going on. But it's just been ridiculous. Just ridiculous. And we haven't really said a lot because you know that there were attorneys working on it. So we want to continue that, but we need the help of the city. So I hope that state statute will help. I got a couple other things real quick. One is our park. And I know when they redid the trail, but they didn't do anything to the park. Is that on Olivet? It's kind of bumpy. It's the asphalt, the black that's in the actual park in Indian Meadows. So it's kind of crumbly in some areas. So the other concern is we have 2 spaces in the new park area that when we get heavy rain, it's full of water. So the kids go out there and play. Then they muddy up everything, which is by the water park. And then the other area is by the playground area around one of the trees. It's set real low. So if we can get that built back up so that the water won't set there. The other one is the trees. We have a lot of dead trees. I know they've cut some down, but when we get any kind of a rain or wind, I should say wind, there's branches all over the park. And I realize it's more than one park, so sometimes it takes them a while. But then the kids are playing and you got these big branches that are laying all over the park trail. One more thing, chickens. We got the chicken coops gone from the side of the house, but there is a pen. So I've asked over and over about an ordinance to be written so that I don't care about the chickens, but they need to be fenced in the back of the house and not in the very front. These chicken coops were on the front, on the side of the home, and I've complained for a couple of years. And so it's my understanding that all of that has been washed aside. I don't know if anybody knows if that is true, but I'm gonna research it, that's over. The governor is the one that approved that, but it's my understanding that they've been fighting it, so I don't know. But if not, can we get an ordinance where they are fenced in the back? And then I think that's it. We have another area in our subdivision, and I've complained about it several times. We need some help with enforcement of property upkeep. So we got a lot of issues with that. But I understand we only have one part-time person. And for this city, we could probably use one or two to just do property upkeep for all of the entire Olivet area. And one other place is Grandview. Glad Bruce is here. Grandview, on the corner of Grandview and La Jolla. There are huge poplar trees that have grown out into the street. I've asked, you can't even see the street sign. The trees were trimmed back right at the sign, but of course they grow back. I'm asking that something be done about those trees because it's really a hindrance. If you are coming up to the stop sign and somebody's coming from the other direction, these trees are huge and they are actually in the street. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I've been over there in ages.
Yeah, it's still there. It's just worse. So we have several areas where the trees are actually growing into the street, round up, not just hanging over. So they actually block traffic.
Mhm.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, Stephanie Todd.
Hi, Stephanie Todd, 7 Heather Hill Lane. So I'm here to support the residents near Indian Meadows in their complaints about AZZ as an Olivet resident, but also I'm representing the Sierra Club and Dark Sky, Missouri, they have also gotten involved in these issues. There are really 3 issues: light trespass, potential air pollution, and noise. The light trespass that is occurring should be easy to take care of because St. Louis County already has an ordinance against it. So it'd be really good if someone from Olivet notified the county that light trespass from AZZ is shining into residents' houses, shining off the property into residents' houses, and ask AZZ to shield their lights. No, air pollution and noise are more difficult. However, Olivet can do something about it. The residents have been complaining about AZZ for at least 2 years, but they didn't give up. They found a regulation that cities can enforce ordinances up to a half-mile outside their boundaries. Olivet needs to step up and support its citizens. The county does not have the necessary equipment to determine if ACC is emitting pollutants and to identify the pollutants. However, the outside groups that they're working with, they're trying to install air monitors and analyze air samples and noise monitors. So I encourage you to work with them to get data to back up their claims. Noise is a harder problem, but put yourself in these residents' shoes. How would you like to hear a loud bang several times in the middle of the night? I'm asking you to find a way to stop the loud noise at night and determine if AZZ is polluting the air and if they are to try to stop them. These problems should not be ignored and Olivet can and should do something about them.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. All right. Is there anyone else in the audience who wanted to speak?
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Denise Williams. I live at 9600 Huron Drive. I just have to say I live across the street from the park where all this noise have been going on for quite a while. And hearing this noise all day and throughout your time of rest is depreciating your livelihood. I'm 70 and I'm not getting any rest. I've retired to come home and enjoy the kids, enjoy my bed where I've been missing it for all this time. And then you come home and you're hearing all of this unnecessary noise that's not supposed to be a part of your life in Olivet. I used to call Olivet when I moved here Sleepy Hollow. Very quiet, very surreal. That has been stolen. And days and days and days have passed by, and all of you all are sleeping comfortably while we're up in the I walk the trail 3 times a day. You hear it. It's supposed to be surreal on the path. It's supposed to be something great that you all have done for the community. I don't think so. Because you're walking, you're smelling that stuff, big, just so much smoke, it covers the whole park. The stench comes in your windows. You smell it at night, not including the noise, but the smoke, the stench. So imagine, close your eyes and imagine that's how your days are going every day. You got to deal with this every day. Your kids are inhaling this poison. We're at 70, they're cutting years off our lives, smelling it, I'm sure, because it's chemicals that we're absorbing into our bodies. The kids are absorbing over at the park that is so nice to have in the neighborhood, but it's being blown straight to hell. Their lives are being cut short, and you guys are, when y'all sleep at night, just think your glorious Olivet is causing suffering for a lot of your community. And we're just asking you to really take this to heart and understand what we're dealing with. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. All right. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak? Is there anyone online? Please raise your hand. All right. Thank you for everyone for your comments. Sincerely appreciate it. All right. We are going to move on now to item 9, Bill 3066. Could we please have the title be read?
Bill 3066, an ordinance authorizing a special permit usage for OL3BP Associates LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed as 9600 and 9606 Olive Boulevard, to permit Rick's Ace Hardware to operate an outdoor display and storage area on the east parking lot portion associated with their tenant space addressed as 9612 Olive Boulevard. Second reading.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name's Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development, and I'm requesting a second reading, call for action for this bill. We had our public hearing on August 11th. Be glad to answer any questions, and we do have a representative in attendance if necessary.
The only question I had is I think there was an ask to look at, and I think Councilman Drago had asked about it, like in terms of the location, could it be wedged into the corner in the back or anything like that? Was that feasible in terms of the drawing, if I'm remembering correctly?
That was related if like parking was an issue.
Yeah,
If that, and that may be something that needs to be looked at if it becomes an issue
Okay.
or not.
that's fine.
But I think that's what we were talking
That
about.
is correct.
Okay,
That's my
good to know.
understanding.
Yeah, and I guess my question is a procedural question related, just with us being a fairly new council. Should there be an issue that becomes apparent with parking, or traffic movement
Or
with the
safety.
location, safety, what is the process for if we approve the special permit as it is tonight, but realize that it is not functioning in the way that we intended it to?
We'll engage with the, first engage with the applicant or the petitioner that operates a special use permit. See what we can, try to mitigate what is out there, get a better understanding. And then ultimately report back to the council. The council does have the right to revoke a permit. Yeah, if it finds that there is some validation to the concerns that are expressed.
Question, how do we define parking issues? Like, what do we consider that to be?
It's a very good question. I mean, that side, I would assume that there will be some type of reported incident on Olive or so. But if somebody just can't find a parking space on a specific date, they can bring that information. We can try to log it and record it, but it would have to be something that's known in there. And then the process that we had today of the people speaking before the council, noting concerns or issues, gets it on the record.
I
things of
imagine
that
that's,
nature.
well, and I imagine if the city got notified, that could be brought forward to us, but I think about hypothetically a certain parking lot, south of us at the end of 170, I hear people complain about, all the time. It's like if we hear about citizens, something we can bring up too. Hopefully it's not an issue and.
And
we
then
don't have a
ultimately
problem.
it is, I mean, we will report back to the council. The council has, if there's a consensus that it is an issue, I would assume the council holds the authority to revoke the permit or push
Or
for
modify
for
it,
some
or,
kind
yeah.
of solution.
And we talked about Dobbs only using the first row of parking, right?
That is a private agreement, I believe, that they have with the property owner that they're supposed to be using only that one
Okay,
side.
that's not a city enforceable.
Correct. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything that we put into our contingencies or so, because that's more, again, that's open parking for the
Sure.
center.
Okay,
Is the parking lot itself owned by one parcel or another?
It's the best of my understanding, it's all owned by the OL3BP Associates, which operates as Bianco Properties. They have the ownership of all the grounds, and then Dobbs leases from them in there. I know there are like 3 different parcels identified by county, but it's one large site.
Okay.
All right.
And then this is fairly random, and I do apologize. I did not send this question to you ahead of time. Has there been any consideration with the little driveway, not driveway, but right-of-way area in the front of that building where you have a curb cut on one side, a curb cut on the other side? Has there been any consideration to closing that driveway? This obviously is bigger than this particular special use permit, but thinking through.
It's one of those, it's a long-term discussion. We put together, the council had authorized us to do the Olivet Boulevard conceptual master plan, and it identified areas, and that's one of the sides. Unfortunately, with the curvature of the road is one problem. The intersections of the opposite streets on the north side is another problem, and then none of the aprons align. Easy solution is to place a median that resolve all the problems, but I'm sure you'll hear a lot about that in there. But over time, working with those property owners, we made them familiar with the concept. Ultimately, and we've had discussions about, kind of nudging them to think ahead of reassessing the whole parking layout on the shopping center. It's tough. It's something I got, we're 1963, that was a determination of how that layout was put in place, and whether they looked at the external factors and what was across the street, I can't tell you that, but I guess we've made them aware. They know that there are issues. We're looking at some formal way that maybe over time that we can kind of like reshift or consolidate that, but it becomes expensive, and that becomes the key question. Is it all on their dime, or is it something that we collaborate with them and partner with in that process? If you go back to the Catalyst tragedy, another report that the council funded, and there, while it didn't go the full extent to Old Bonham Road, it talked about creating some type of traffic improvement district or transportation improvement district to look at means of getting that, well, it needs to be reassessed in terms of where are the best points of entry and then internal circulations are going to be also need to be looked at, and of course the streetscape enhancements. So I hope that kind of addresses it. I mean, it is as long as
Your question.
my response to you.
Probably another night for.
Right.
But I think it can be done within the plan's horizon.
All right, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Bill 3066, an ordinance authorizing a special permit use for the OL3 BP Associates LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed at 9600 and 9606 Olive Boulevard, to permit Rick's Ace Hardware to operate an outdoor display and storage area on the east parking lot portion associated with their tenant space addressed as 9612 Olive Boulevard.
Second.
All right, motion made by Councilmember Jagel, second by Councilmember Clark. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Jagel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Bill 3066 becomes ordinance 2836.
Thank you. We'll move on to, I think it's the Carlos show tonight, right? So, move on to item 10, Bill 3067. Will you please have the title be read?
Bill 3067, an ordinance authorizing a special permit usage for PPM Bauer LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed as 10401 Bauer Boulevard, to permit advanced driver assistance systems to operate an indoor automotive repair facility within the tenant space addressed as 10401 Bauer Boulevard, Suite B. Second reading.
Mayor, again, this was read at our previous meeting on August 11th, along with a public hearing. Be glad to answer any specific questions. We do have a representative, Mr. Corbin, I believe one of the operators in attendance.
I didn't have any questions. I think we covered it last time as far as I'm concerned. Does anyone have any questions? Not to discredit, I think the work was great last time, so we got our answer. So it's a very interesting new property to have. No? All right, then if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Bill 3067, an ordinance authorizing a special permit use for PPM Bauer LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed as 10401 Bauer Boulevard, to permit advanced driver assistance systems to operate an indoor automotive repair facility within the tenant space addressed at 10401 Bauer Boulevard, Suite B.
Second.
All right, motion's been made in a second. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Jagel,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Bill 3067 becomes ordinance 2837.
All right, moving on to item 11, please. Bill 3068. Can we
Bill-
please have the title read?
Bill 3068, an ordinance reaffirming and adopting Chapter 115, Article 3, Section 115.080 to 115.120, Conflict of Interest of the City of Olivet, Missouri, Municipal Code, and establishing a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interests for certain municipal officials. Second reading.
So we covered this last time, procedural that we need to do this.
That's correct.
All right. I did not have any questions. Did anyone on the council?
I had none.
All right, then I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve Bill 3068, an ordinance reaffirming and adopting Chapter 115, Article 3, Section 115.080 through 115.120, conflict of interest of the city of Olivet, Missouri Municipal Code, and establishing a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interests for certain municipal officials.
All right, do we hear a second?
Second.
All right, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Dragell,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Bill 3068 becomes ordinance 2838.
All right, we'll move on to item 12, Bill 3069. Can we please have the title be read?
Bill 3069, an ordinance granting an easement to Spire for the installation of an underground gas main at 9201 Olive. Second reading.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Great news today. The Spire was on site to finally begin relocating that 2-inch high pressure main. Any questions about our discussion from a couple weeks ago or thoughts since then about the wonderful world underneath our pavement?
When you put it that way.
Okay.
I've got a lot of questions, yeah. I do not, I mean, nothing new to add from the last.
Okay,
time, so,
very good.
yeah.
I have nothing. yet.
Anyone? All right, then I'll entertain a motion. I guess, do we have a motion on this directly, or we do have a motion, right?
Recommend
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. So
Uh,
do we need just to reword it to approve this?
Yeah, you should just word it as a motion to approve bill number 3069, et cetera.
Gotcha.
I would like to make a motion
Right then.
for Bill 3069, an ordinance granting an easement to Spire for the installation of an underground gas main.
I second that.
All right, motion made and seconded. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Dragell,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Bill 3069 becomes ordinance 2839.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck. All right, move on to item 13, Bill 3070. If we can please have the title be read.
Bill 3070, an ordinance authorizing a special permit use for AC Richardson LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed as 1215 Dealman Industrial Court, to permit SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Pediatric Therapy to operate a 4,566 square foot medical clinic within the tenant space addressed as 9375 Dealman Industrial Drive. First reading and public hearing.
All right, as part of this public hearing, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing for this bill. We'll have
And good
presentation.
evening, Mayor.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. My name is Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Olivet. And tonight I'm here to present Bill 3070, which is a special permit use request for medical offices and clinics at 9375 Dealman Industrial Drive. The next slide will kind of show the location. It's at the corner of Dealman Industrial Drive and Dealman Industrial Court, which is on the lower left-hand corner of the parcel. It's a corner parcel. In there, it's about 3.5 acres. The building itself, which you see the L shape and the white roof there, is roughly 31,596 square feet. It's a multi-tenant office warehouse. You might be familiar with the artery is located in there, along with the USGS. Is located in that facility. The proposed use is a medical office and clinics, and since this is light industrial, medical offices and clinics are identified in the permitted uses, but only as a special permit, and that is why SSM Health Cardinal Glennon is here before you. It's zone LID, light industrial district, and it is authorized as a special permit use in the LID district. The next slide kind of talks about the special permit procedure, where we try to facilitate and further our vision and goals with the comprehensive plan, which we hope is reflective of our ordinances in the COR district, but allows us to look at the potential impact, the district itself, the comp plan sites, sustainability, the surrounding impacts, and then the council rights to buffer, require some additional improvements and impose some open space requirements, and to consider some limitations like in hours and things of that nature. It goes to our Planning and Community Design Commission for review and a recommendation, and then a council holds a public hearing and then considers actions via an ordinance. On the next slide, just a couple of things regarding special permit uses. There are some general conditions that are outlined with our ordinance. Those are, that is it listed in the district? Does it further the comprehensive plan? Is it the location, the parcel suitable for the environment, the surroundings? Is it complementary to the surroundings in the neighborhood and the improvements Did they demonstrate mitigation to any potential spillover effects? And then, of course, it gives the city the authority to grant buffering, designate areas for open space, set limitations on operations, implementation schedules, meaning like over time they need to do this, and consider adequacy of public services. The next slide, we'll get into the nuts and bolts. This is a street view of the building facility. They'll be taking that front corner that you see there. It's approximately, I believe it's a little over 4,500 square feet. We'll get to that specifically in a second. Dealman Industrial Drive is on the right-hand side. Dealman Industrial Court is on the left-hand side. Dealman Industrial Court is just a short street that leads directly to a building that's in the background there. The next slide. This is just the tenant improvement plans that they're proposing that kind of exist in the existing site ground. It is a 4,500 square foot building, I believe. They are, when you look at it in comparison to the overall building, which is about 32,000 square feet, they're a little bit of around an eighth of the whole building in there. And you can see the corner area that they'll be taking up their space. It's kind of proportion to the size on the plan. The next slide will identify what are they doing. It's a 4,566 square foot outpatient physical therapy clinic, a pediatric therapy clinic. The clinic provides multidisciplinary therapy for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy at their site. They currently operate in Creve Coeur, and they're relocating to Olivet, which is great. The next slide kind of goes over, the commission did review it, and they motioned to recommend to the council that the council consider and approve authorization of the special permit. They use, of course, the comprehensive plan, our community goals in their review. We look at the principles for economic development and our comprehensive update goals, which is environmental sustainability, investment, crime prevention, native plantings, and strategic redevelopment. And you can see the check boxes as we go through in there. To complete those boxes, of course, they are asking for some additional landscaping along the Dealman Industrial Drive component, which is the west side when you enter from the stop sign area, to replace exterior wall pack lights with those compatible with Chapter 428, meaning that they're cut off facing down in there. And then to limit the hours of operation from 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. That's done in collaboration with the petitioner. And the concern was because it's a pediatric facility, just to make sure that they're not interrupting or throughout the evening or when we have industrial traffic. So on the next slide, Mayor, if I can enter a couple of items just for the record, our 2024 comprehensive plan update, including the 5-year economic development plan, the Olivet Municipal Code and zoning map, the staff presentation and memorandum that was presented to the Planning and Community Design Commission dated July 23rd, 2026, including the petition and supporting plans and documents. Our public hearing notice, this is a public hearing. We were required to post this 15 days prior to tonight, and that was posted in the county in St. Louis County on August 10th, 2026. And you have a list of the properties that were notified. We did 300 feet, which is above and beyond the 185 called by code. And then this presentation before the city council. So Mayor, I'd be glad to answer any specific questions. And then we do have representatives here I'd like to introduce.
What was their current previously?
Pardon?
Who occupied it?
It was an engineering firm, I believe, was the last firm that was there.
And they're going to be, if you don't mind going back to the overlay of the office, they're going to be doing outpatient. I guess so. Patients come in and are seen there, or is the expectation? But because these cubes, I guess I'm just wondering where that occurs.
Kind of like shows the internal layout. I think there's going to be some changes and modifications. I think that's what it looks like right now in there. So they haven't applied, but yes, they do one-on-one therapies with individual clients, pediatrics, of course. In there, probably a question that can better address than I could on the description.
Before we bring them up, other questions people have, or
I had the same question.
yeah,
Yes, I don't have it. Thank you.
I had a question on the hours. So pediatric means all the way through 18, right? So is the city limiting the hours, or is that something that SSM is choosing?
We talked with SSM about what hours and in there, and that was within that range. I think they close at 5:30. Something we can check with them again.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was just curious, I don't see a landscape plan here yet, but want to be clear about the area that this business would be working, like what part of the parcel they would be working on to improve the landscaping and hopefully get some trees out there and native plants, something other than just the turf. And then also curious if there's going to be any signage on that corner there, or that little kind of
Good
part
question.
that pokes out on the corner.
No.
If there's any kind of signage that they're.
If we can
looking
go
for.
one slide back, Ms. Yakin. On the right-hand side, you'll see Dealman Industrial Drive. That's where we're asking for some additional landscaping to be placed in there, with 50% of that being native. The one thing along this corner, both going north, where when you're looking at that right road, you are going north to south. On the left, you're going east to west. On both portions of the road, and you can see some of the fiber indications. There's fiber and underground utilities all running through there. Where I have the most excess of right of way, believe it or not, is going to be on the western side. This used to be an easement, and that's where I believe maybe that's why there was no sidewalk or landscaping in place. When the city took over the roads, we took over just a significant portion. A lot of times the parking would have been further back. We would have more area for landscaping and things of that nature. So we're looking here on the right-hand side, as you can go north to south, that they do some additional landscaping in there. Trees, to be careful, probably preference would be more ornamental, but nothing that's going to be deep rooted, because there's continuum. Matter of fact, there was markings this morning again that somebody's running some type of fiber optics or things of that nature. So it continuously gets torn out, but we'd like to get them more towards on the western or the eastern part of that hump, as you see in the grading in there, to kind of hide some of the parking in there. We didn't look at the north, as they're kind of more facing towards Olive in there. But again, I know I have a lot of utility stuff that runs underneath, and the sidewalk kind of extends more along that area in there, but it could be discussion we can have with the property owner. In terms of signage, no signage has been proposed. Traditionally, the signage has been on the wall in there. I anticipate that they will continue to do so. I know ImageNet, which is also located on that building at the far left end, which would be the eastern end of the building, does have a monument sign at that back corner. So if they do another one, they have to place it towards the other apron in there. So I don't anticipate anything towards the front.
Okay. And my questions are twofold. One, obviously to increase our environmental sustainability and to have plantings along that area as much as possible that not only are good for the environment, but can also provide shade and reduce the heat on that asphalt parking lot. And then the other piece with, and safety as well, because you're going to have kids in that parking lot. And obviously it's worst case scenario, thinking that somebody's going to jump the curb and go over, that's obviously worst case scenario, but any buffer that we can put in there is a good one. And the same concern with safety for signage, just so that when we've got parents who are looking for the facility, that it's clear and we don't have kind of that driving around trying to find it, because it is, somewhat tucked down back behind there, just so that it's clearly seen and visible for your visitors, for your patients and their families.
It's something we can look at and discuss with it. And again, I just want to be clear in terms of the two, on the first component of that, the sustainability aspect, as we're looking at some of the plantings and the native species, the concern would be on the trees being too big in there because of the because of the utilities that run on that north side. Now, right here where the bench is set, there is more depth, and I think it's the parking stall length. And we can talk with them if that's an area that they could do more of the shade aspect of it, as opposed to the decorative part component of it.
Yeah, and even if it was native bushes or something, that it would help and put that barrier.
Is the, the white and orange pole that you can see in the front of the picture, but then also on that right side there, is that the marking for the fiber optic cable?
One of the companies.
Okay.
I would assume it doesn't represent all of the companies. And then you can see the little square in there represents somebody's vault to get in that space.
So is the idea being, though, that the general location of those lines is approximately on the right side, approximately the same as what we can see in the foreground of the image?
At least for the ones that are marked, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're usually about 2 feet below below grade, which is not much when you kind of think about it.
Okay.
Why don't we bring the petitioner? Can ask questions?
How are you?
Good.
My name's Lara Masters. I'm a regional director for SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Pediatric Therapy. Thank you for letting us be here today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I'm Ann Hug. I'm the Vice President of Operations for the company.
Yeah, I think the question we had is just the layout. Patients will be seen in there.
Yes.
And is it just kind of open like you're counseling, so it is cubes, or is it actually like private facility, or what kind of things are happening usually?
There'll be an open space, like a gym for more like physical therapy, but we'll probably have, I would say 7 or 8 individual treatment rooms that are more where speech therapists would work with individual
So this is
patients.
not necessarily what the layout.
This is what it looks like now. We would do something different with it.
Okay.
So where there'd be, individual treatment rooms. Again, they're not big, but they're
Yeah, but you
more
need
for
one
speech.
monitor.
Yep.
Yeah, things like
Yep.
that.
And yep.
The treatment rooms will be around the perimeter and the gym space will be in the middle.
Okay. For actual PT itself and OT and
Yes.
things like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Will it be possible to have the drawing of how you envision this? I think it's just very helpful for us to actually have the drawing in front of us as opposed to each of our brains kind of thinking what it might look like.
We have a clinic that's very similar in size in Ronnie's Plaza. And I have that drawing that I can share with you that we will use that kind of design for this space. So would love to share that with you.
Bring that for the second reading or for
Sure.
Carla, which has probably forward
Yep.
it to us.
And this is eventually going to go to planning and zoning if this is approved. And then they'll have the full sets of drawings and landscape plans and things like that. Is that correct?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think so,
I
yeah.
want to see it now.
No, it would be more regarding the use and the operations of the use. The improvements would be internal in there, so that generally that wouldn't go back to the commission for review in there, because the code and the number of exits and the use is going to dictate how that space.
How people
Gotcha.
deal with it
Yeah.
internally is not necessarily our.
In terms of landscaping, yes, the commission was comfortable with that administratively, that as long as they submit some type of landscaping in there, and then said the condition of the 50% native
Yeah.
in there gives us the guidance of what they're looking for. So
Okay. I understand.
And that'd just be helpful if you can send an example, just so we can, visualize it. Appreciate it.
Like before the second, you'd
If
like
you
it.
forward it to Mr. Trejo, he can forward it to
Sure.
us, and then we'll have it for the second, and just helps us visual. Again, it's your internal, not ours, but
Right.
just
Sure.
that's where I was struggling. I'm like, I don't understand.
What is
But,
it? How's it-
but
Yeah. Yep.
hey, I'm like, it's your business.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Thank you.
But I do think having that information, I know you have presented this to the PCDC a few months ago. And so like the understanding that for a landscaping plan has been kind of out there for a little bit. So it would be nice to see some movement towards getting a clearer sense of what that is, as well as what your layout internally is before the second reading,
Okay.
so that we're really clear on what we're approving.
Sure.
And I'm thrilled to, like, my hesitancy is not anything about this
Yeah.
business or anything. I think it's a good use. I think it's great to have
Yeah.
this here in Olivet. And I'd like to have a clearer sense of what we're approving before we approve it.
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Did you have?
Yeah, I had just one comment. I'm Drew Clary with Intellica. I work with the landlord on this building. I just had a quick comment question on the conditions of the landscaping. So Carlos mentioned there's some fiber optic cables that run on the inside or just on the outside of the sidewalk. There's a very similar one just on the other side. You can't see it, but it's right there in front of a manhole. Would it be beneficial at all if we did more landscaping right where that park bench is instead of along the western barrier?
My view is more landscaping anywhere is good. Like, so as many native, this council is generally, I want to speak for everyone, but it's generally in favor of native plants and just beautifying and just adding sustainability. So There's many, many ways to attack that. So I think, yeah, we have to be sensitive to the cabling and not get in the way of utilities and trees and things like that. So we're not in any way saying, no, no, just put trees everywhere. It's what are the best use of native plants, sustainability that are aesthetically looking, that are good maintenance, you know, and see, and I think it's just seeing what would look like.
Yeah. So and just a couple thoughts on what we were planning on doing to this building. So it's been under a new owner since about October. The building, I don't know if you've driven by it frequently, but it looks very tired on the outside. So the signage is all mismatched. Festive is on that corner. Their sign's about this big, literally. And so we're trying to make the signage consistent. We're trying to make it prettier, channel cut lettering if available. Repaint the exterior of the building. We were welcoming the light improvements. We were planning on doing that anyway. And so I was trying to get to an understanding of, is it more beautification or is it more safety barrier now that you have a better understanding of their hours of operation, or is it a little bit of both? Because I could probably do more landscaping near the park bench, more in front of the building. I guess what I'm getting at is I want to create the barrier. I want it to be pretty. I would love to not do too much because we're going to make the building look a lot nicer. And I would hate for it to be obfuscated if we have hedges grow too tall. But that's nice to have, not need
at
to
least
have.
from my perspective with the landscaping.
Yeah.
You know, it's addressing sustainability
Mhm.
and aesthetic purposes.
Okay.
But with the sustainability piece, you know, trees provide benefits, a multitude of benefits, stormwater control, cooling, biodiversity, and aesthetics.
Yeah.
As well. So, and trees give you the biggest bang for your buck over time.
Mhm.
And low maintenance generally too.
Yes.
That is, and it is a triple net building. And so increasing the maintenance cost does get passed back to the tenants. And
Yeah.
so trying to find that happy medium.
Yeah, and I think again, this is not a dictative. It's just anywhere we can, especially when we're approving new things. We're saying let's continue sustainability goals. I'm less concerned about the safety. It's always a nice thing, but yeah, at least there is also a ridge up, which is nice. It's
Right.
a very large area versus just a curb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just like to see us continuing to grow and get more sustainable. So, but to your point, you don't want to block the signage you're going to put up either. So
Right.
It's a balance.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're on the same page. We'll get you something
And
that
Carlos has a really good sense of, I think, of
What we're
we've
thinking.
had these conversations in multiple forms. So I think he's probably well equipped to advise on that.
he has been. You guys have always been very helpful too. So
What
We
what
appreciate it.
color are you going to paint the building?
that's a good question.
And are you going to paint? It looks like there's masonry.
So right now our thought was just the facade. But it's barely a thought. Are you familiar with what they did with the Cone Elevator building just a little bit further down?
No.
It's right next to Stone Fabricators and PK Construction. But if you look at the before and after of what they did, they painted it white and blue accents. It looks incredible. So it's something that'd be tasteful and nice and not obnoxious. But if you go look at it sometime this week, I mean, it's peeling. It's just, there's a light it just needs to be redone. So
If you can kind of describe what that's going to be, what
Yeah.
color, what you guys decide before the next reading, that would be great too.
yeah, we'll try and put something together like that along with a landscaping plan.
And I'm
and
not
present
sure,
to you
I
guys.
could be wrong. They're not necessarily tied together, right? Because you're talking about the entire building versus just this. So
Yeah.
Good point.
yeah,
It wasn't a requirement on the PNC.
I don't want to stop
Yeah.
this versus
Yeah.
this.
Makes sense.
Let's do both.
Right.
Makes
Yeah. I don't want to encumber that or
No,
delay it,
yeah.
but,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to let you know of our plans anyway.
Appreciate it.
So-
It's good to know. I appreciate the beautification. So,
Of course. Cool.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? No. All right. Anyone online? Anything else from the council? No. All right. We will go ahead and close the public hearing then. And then there will be a second reading of this bill on September 8th. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to item 14, Bill 3071. I'm going to ask for the title to be read.
Bill 3071, an ordinance authorizing a special permit use for New Blueprint Partners LLC, owners of the property grounds addressed as 1220 North Price Road, to permit AIM Field Hockey to operate a 6,614 square foot enclosed recreational use within the tenant space addressed as 1220 North Price Road, Suite 4. First reading and public hearing.
All right. I will go ahead and open the public hearing as well and get another great presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, and just for the record, my name is Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Olivet. And tonight here I'm to discuss Bill 3071, which is a special permit request for an enclosed recreational use at 1220 North Price Road, suite number 4 in that building. That is the same building where we have Padel and Pickle on the northern end, and underneath Padel and Pickle is actually beauty Auto Beauty Specialists. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the name. And then right in the middle, you have door.com that's located, that kind of wraps. And then this is a little corner piece that I'll show you more specifically in a second. So if you go to the next slide, it is an older building that was built, I believe, in the 1960s. I didn't put the date in there, but it's a 6-acre lot with 134,000 square foot, was considered of office manufacturing, warehousing, and distilling that took place at one time. Now we have a recreational use with Padel and Pickle, storage with Auto Beauty Specialists, and then some distribution and offices with lock.com or door.com. On the site. There's one more piece of the building that is up for lease, and it's roughly about 6,700 square feet, and that's where you see the orange door there at the lower right-hand corner. Is where they're looking to take a piece of that. It's very oddly configured because over time, as that property was improved, they did it in phases and pieces in there. And of course, it was the old Southern Comfort Distillery that was operating on that site. Property grounds are zoned LID, Light Industrial District, and enclosed recreational uses and outdoor recreational uses are permitted uses in the LID district, but subject to a special permit, meaning they're not industrial, but they can be compatible with a lot of the industrial uses that we have there. And of course, I noted we have Padel and Pickle on the site. Just to the left of it, you had the bridge facility in there. And then we used to have the Old Town and Tennis just down the block, not too far from where SSM was looking at. The next slide. We have a procedure for special permit requests. It's a review and recommendation by the council, by the commission. They forward that to the council, which holds a public hearing and then has a action via an ordinance. Special permit process. We have a procedure that's outlined within our ordinance that looks at the impact to limitations, but always trying to see how we can further our comprehensive plans goals and updates. And I'm sorry about the lower left hand. That should have been LID district. In there on that site. The next slide will kind of talk about general conditions of the special permit. So what do we do is that we make sure it's listed in the district, that it furthers the goals of the comprehensive plan, that the location is suitable to the environment and surroundings. Sometimes it could be doing topography, some natural features. Is the property flat? Is it hilly or things of that nature? Are the improvements complementary to the neighboring uses? Did they demonstrate that they are mitigating any spillover effects that would adversely impact the adjacent properties? And then, of course, the city has the authority to require whether buffering, aesthetic enhancements, designate areas for open space, set limitations on operations, implement a schedule, and that is, requiring things to happen over a certain amount of time, and consider adequacy of public services such as fire, medical, police type of services. The next slide, we'll get into the nuts and bolts. This is a corner of the building. Again, this is a 134,000 square foot building. It's a big building. They're taking this kind of front view here where the orange door is, but not the whole thing. It's just on the left-hand side, the first two components where you see the vertical things right there, and then it kind of L shapes and goes back. So you actually enter the building from that gap between where the cursor is and to the far left. In there, there's a little cove that's a little bit further back. Thank you, Ms. Yackley. In there where the entrance is. And I'll show you a little bit more when we get into the aerial view. The next slide will kind of show how that is set up. And again, sorry, I'm using white on the white background, but you can see this L-shaped layout kind of laid out onto the 134,000 square foot building. You can see that cove area. In that cove area on the left-hand side is the layout. There's a 6,060 square feet of the building footprint for the Ames Indoor Field Hockey Practice Facility, who is your petitioner. The next slide. What is being proposed, the operations are, it's a 6,600 square foot women's indoor field hockey practice facility. In this facility, the operations will include training, one-on-one coaching, office operations, and then video productions that they use for promoting purposes for the individual athletes, for schools and things of that nature. Next slide. As we go through the PCDC, they went and they reviewed it. Again, they have a process to review it in accordance with or ordinance and special permit uses, and then also our comprehensive plan. When you look at economic development and investment, it also has its own specific goals about environmental sustainability, investment, crime prevention, native plantings, and strategic redevelopment. So in their review, the commission motion that the council consider authorizing the special permit through this ordinance. However, they also laid out the following conditions. One is to limit the hours of operations from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. How did we get there? Again, that was a discussion with the petitioner of what their operating hours would be in there. To replace the exterior wall pack lights with those that are cut off and facing down, compatible with Chapter 428. To do a tree health assessment and replacement plan with 50% of those being native. There were several trees along the perimeter of the site as itself, differentiating it from the petitioner here. And some of them had been cut down, and some of them seemed like they were not as healthy. And then to replace some of the deteriorated fencing sections that were on the south side of the property in there. The next slide, Mayor, if I can just enter a couple of items into the record. One is our 2024 comprehensive plan update, including our 5-year economic development plan, the Olivet Municipal Code and zoning map, the staff presentation and memorandum presented to the Planning and Community Design Commission, dated July 23rd, 2026, including the petition and supporting plans and documents. The public hearing notice, of course, this is a public hearing. We're required to post this in the county in St. Louis County. It was published on August 10th, 2026. And then you have a list of the properties that were identified or notified regarding that twice. They get a postcard before it goes to the commission, and then they also get a public hearing notice prior to our meeting here at council. And then the presentation before council dated August 25th, 2026. I do have representatives here in attendance, but I'd be glad to answer specific questions about the building and the operations.
I have questions mostly for the petitioner. So before we bring them up, anyone have any questions for Mr. Trejo?
Yes, my daughter actually took lessons at Padel and Pickle, so I got to see the parking lot when it gets a little bit busier. It just want to make sure that there are enough spots for all the tenants if this goes through, especially if there's a team or a couple of teams practicing. Everyone drives in their own cars. Could end up with an extra 30 cars. Would that be enough space? And if not, where would the overflow be?
Well, a good question. If we can go back to the aerial, I think it's about 3 on this side. Well, one more. On this side, so you can see there's that center parking in that area, primarily used by Door.com, excuse me, and their Padel and Pickle uses part of that, and then they expanded or have the parking facility there on the lower left corner in there, and you see that aisle in there. They've always wanted to expand into that green space, but then that would trigger MSD review and stormwater. So there's always that caveat that we have available there. But then there's some additional parking on the far right end of the building in there. It's kind of separate and independent, but they also operate this. Yes.
To the far, okay.
That area where the cursor is at.
Would that be another entrance, or would people have to walk around?
They would have to walk around. They're not in the way in the original building, everything was all within reach. Now that things have been separated, yes, the parking's all kind of disassociated with the spaces. But it's always a good question. I mean, I always hear, that's a lot of parking. Do they really need all that surface area? And you try to balance that. Do they really have enough parking in there? From a planning perspective, there are in our code, there are some minimums. We go by minimums in there that they have to have a minimum amount based on the type of activity that takes place. For recreational uses, it's based on square footage. There's a simple calculation that we use to calculate that. For the office, it's based on a similar weight, but but then they're in a match. And then our code allows us to provide some overlap. So if this use needs this much parking, this use needs this much parking, this use needs this much parking, you can have some overlap that some may come in at night, some may come in during the day. And there, so it allows for that process in there to help try to balance it in there. But again, it's, you know, from a professional view, it's like I think if people are unhappy with the parking, they're going to go somewhere else to find a better facility that can accommodate them, and it impacts the user. And there, we want to keep these uses viable. We want to keep our residents and the region coming to our location in there. But this is a fine balance as opposed to having over parking. We had the conversation when Murphy Health Systems was looking at the pharmacy, and we were asking, can we get rid of parking spaces back there? And it's tough.
For this area
hard
specifically, I just want to make sure people are not parking along the road or something like that. So, but that sounds plenty sufficient if we have that lot in the back.
But a good question. I mean, it's one of the things we struggle with, and finding that right mix, right balance. And-
Related to parking, I'm interested in kind of hearing your perspective on the traffic flow on this lot, just recognizing that it has kind of an unusual setup with the two entrances. It's not a circle drive, but kind of coming in from both sides, and then the extended part that I'm assuming when this was more serving an industrial purpose was set up for truck loading and unloading. And I guess I'm curious in this parcel, recognizing how the uses have shifted pretty significantly, other than Door. Perhaps Door still uses the larger trucks for deliveries and loading and unloading. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to know if this current traffic configuration is the best use of that space, and or the safest use, recognizing that for field hockey you'll have parents driving, but my guess is potentially some of the clients will be older kids, young adults who are driving themselves and aren't necessarily known for being the best drivers, and trying to make that particular area work in a way that it seems the setup as it is now is a little odd for the uses that are being.
No, it's a very good question.
Those buildings.
In there, a good question, just on the timing and on here. So, and this is why it's a special permit. I mean, we have seen our industrial parks, there's not much industrial going on in those parks anymore. We have seen the road and all that. This used to be all private. So those dock doors all worked in there because they were not under our jurisdiction and in place. Now we've taken up those spaces in there, and these buildings still are industrial buildings trying to be retrofitted for uses that were, that they were not designed or built. And that's why we go through these processes. This is the third time that I've been here just for this building. We did that for Paddle and Pickle. We did it for Auto Beauty to expand underneath in there. And then now we're doing it for the Ames Indoor Hockey in there. I couldn't give you a straight answer of, is this, professionally, is this the ideal parking configuration? No, it's not. This is what I have to work with and how it's put in place. Things that would be ideal for that parking is to make it more uniform and polygonal or so, but then it triggers things because then you get rid of that green space, and then MSD gets involved in all that, and then the cost of trying to retrofit these buildings becomes more difficult in there. I think it's something we have to kind of look over time in there. I'm not aware that there's been any incidents in the spaces, but we only have 3 of the 4 tenants in there right now. With Auto Beauty, that's solely storage, and those are moved from just kind of back and forth with them. Paddle and Pickle, I know they have their operation, their times kind of fluctuate over time. And it's just going to be kind of looking at how that mixture works between the two. The only constant is door.com. We know who's there during the regular hours and then when they leave in there. It could be something that we could look at, how are the hours of operating working with that over time? Or, talk about how do we get more connectivity with some of the other spots in there. Depends on when I go out there, it's full, and you can see to the left on the slide, all that parking right there is bridge in there. And it was like when we were going through it, we didn't anticipate, that volume in that place, but we've been fortunate that the mix of that building has been, kind of balances pretty well. If you don't go there during the bridge time, you're going to get pretty good parking. If it's during bridge time, you're kind of moving around trying to find a space in there. But then they have a similar pattern where the parking wraps around the building, and then there's a whole nother field on the north side of it. So yeah, I think there's enough spots. It certainly does meet our code. Is it configured perfectly? No, it is. It isn't. But I think we have to see how how these buildings kind of transition and how this parking kind of works over time.
What are the current hours for Paddle and Pickle? Do you happen to know?
Not offhand. I believe they do have an early start, like 6 a.m.
And Paddle and Pickle's where on here with the cursor? Sorry, it's
Okay, so as you look, right there.
Okay, thank you.
And they do actually use the parking lot that's where that blue roof.
Right in that area.
Yeah,
That's right,
so that ends up being all parking too, like.
This is an old picture then.
I don't know that it's marked right now, but people just park there in a row and it's pretty organized.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it many times.
How crowded is it when you've been there?
I mean, from what I've seen, they only take up that wider part of the parking. They don't even end up much on the pavement. So.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like there should be room.
Yeah, I mean, if we have that other parking lot on the far right, I mean, that's plenty.
The overflow if needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine it's also by hour times things make difference.
Because I love this reuse.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
been
No, it's
different
exciting.
to these types of.
Yeah,
And it draws people. They want to get dinner afterwards. They want to do things like that. It's great.
and it's unique to our community, right?
It's a great.
Yeah. Why don't we
Great reuse.
bring up the petitioner? So I have just random questions. I'm curious, more curiosity questions. So, evening.
Evening. Thank you guys so much for your time with this in consideration. I'm Lauren Cornthwaite, the founder and director of AIM Field Hockey. I've been at this for 20 years and have a vision for the next step.
I'm Chris Paul now, and I'm a representative for Lauren and the real estate.
Great. I was curious, two things, hours only because again, I feel like it might be different thinking about my son's soccer and the private things, like they easily do things till 10 o'clock at night. And so you're comfortable with the hours because it is light industrial. So we have a little bit of give. So
I am comfortable with the hours. A lot of during the day is going to be just office use we just have 4 of us in there. So it's not like a huge, for parking or whatever. And then I am comfortable with the hours. It's going to be a lot of small group and private training and not like loads of teams coming in that space.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that helps. I guess I'm surprised too, like get your choice, like your field hockey, but you guys don't ever open it up to anything else like futsal or other, trainings. It only dedicates to field hockey.
This is, again, we've been doing this 20 years and
Then
we've
you know what
just
you're doing.
focused on
Yeah.
field hockey, but
It's a win. Okay. Great.
How many players are training at any one time? Oh, thank you.
we'll be looking at doing small group. Well, some will be literally private one-on-one, but we'll be looking at doing like 8 to 12 kids training.
That's okay.
So this is kind of a new concept, so it's a little bit unproved. Lauren's kind of gone out on a limb here because all these indoor practice facility, anyone who uses turf, they're all fighting over each other for VETA and the different turf areas. So Lauren's still going to utilize those spaces. This will be a complementary facility for her where she can do smaller group training, one-on-one. She does a lot of recruitment videos for college and things like that. So they'll have like a video production room. So it's not totally unknown. I think she knows what she's gone through a heavy business plan. So I think it's going to be a great facility. And honestly, the previous meeting we went to, they were like, we think you're going to outgrow this facility and need to go get a bigger facility. So it's a new concept in the indoor space. There's no one else doing it. We're excited about it. We're happy to be in Olivet. This is a great location. The property is well lit and it's a safe neighborhood at night. All the other businesses are in the afternoons. They'll be winding down on their business where she'll be picking up from when kids get out of school until the evening hours. So I think it's complementary. And then a lot of the parents, when they drop their kids off, they can go support the other businesses in the community or go over to Pedal and Pickle and make reservations. And so maybe that helps from the parking standpoint as well. So
Could I address just your question earlier? Also, we serve like 3-year-olds to 18-year-olds. So 90% of our clients are parent drivers. We do have some, the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and I do understand your question with that, but that's going to be a small percentage.
I do imagine you do quite well because I can imagine a lot of people. That's why I asked about other sports, because the recruitment, as my son's going through that kind of thing right now, it's a space where you could do that privately and get that and have video. Question, do you plan, maybe you don't because the size isn't like food. You're not selling food. We're not,
No.
We don't have like a grill and bar or anything like that. I'm thinking like a Veta or something like
No.
that. Okay. You don't want any part of that.
I don't want to venture into that.
I understand. I just wanted to check. So. All right.
Yeah, I think it's a very
Yeah.
exciting use. I love to see the building repurposed, and especially providing something that's unique, and sounds like a really great market to address. And yeah, my concerns really are more about the building and the kind of weird driving situation that exists. I don't have any concerns about the business other than the potential that you will be more successful and outgrow this space too quickly.
So we are in a little bit of so when we negotiated this deal on the building, there was a new buyer coming in for the building, which is the Blue Point or whatever LLC that's on the agenda for this evening. It is kind of an emergency situation. Lauren got busy in the spring and we burned some time. And then we realized when we went to permits that we figured Pedal and Pickle, and it wasn't talked about with the previous landlords on the use, that we didn't fit within the light industrial without a special use permit. So now we're in a situation where construction's been delayed. So really what we're trying to achieve is to get this thing off center, because she's a small business and she's got time burning on a lease right now. And we're confident we can get through this with you guys and make the compromises needed to make sure everyone in the city is happy with the use. But it's kind of like, I think what Carlos suggested is that we need to have it as an emergency so we can get a first and second reading. So whatever accommodations, yeah. So we kind of would like to see if we can move this forward this evening, if you guys would be open to that.
I don't know from policy how that works in terms of, because we have to post agendas.
Start the review of the permit plans with them. And then that's something we can offer.
To move, I'm sorry.
To kind of facilitate and start the permit review, the building permit plans before the council authorizes. So
Okay, yeah.
it's a risk we
But
take, but it's something.
Yeah, and I think if it sounds like they're willing to work, so I think that makes sense to start early. We can't authorize until the second reading, but I think that gets you forward versus waiting to the second reading then to do that, right? So it keeps us on track, if that makes sense. So
What is the policy? Can we do a first and second reading on one day?
I don't know how we can do that.
Technically, you can. It was not advertised on the agenda that you were going to vote on it this evening, so that would have been useful. But technically, you need to vote as a council. Someone needs to make a motion to hold the second reading this evening, and then you need to vote on that motion, and then you would be, you could then vote on the vote on the special use permit, correct.
And I guess though, Carlos, does it speed us up that much? Because the plans, how long is it going to take you guys to work through that?
It takes about, right now, we're about 15 days out for review comments.
Okay. So if you start working with them immediately, it's going to be 15 days anyway.
Correct.
And so to me, it's going to be 2 weeks before we vote on this again.
Correct.
And so I don't think it's going to change anything anyway. And I'd rather, if we didn't need to, if it was going to draft it. But so I think starting as soon as we can on just the review to help them out would be great. If
It's something we can do without you, with or without the.
Okay.
the commission.
Then let's move
Yeah,
forward.
The only concern is, and it was my understanding in the past, it sets a precedent. And then they're always asking us, the staff, about.
Yeah, I think it's understood, and so we need to be careful on that and not so recognizing that there's a need to burn, and we're really excited about the reuse of the building. So, be open to that, but it's a good call out. Signage. Oh, sorry.
I would be comfortable if we entertained a second reading tonight. How does anybody else feel?
I mean, if it's gonna expedite helping them move forward faster, I'm okay with it. But if it's not gonna make any difference, stick to what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's generally, I mean, I wouldn't be totally objecting to it, except it does set precedent for us too. And it doesn't sound like it's going to accelerate at this point, is what I'm hearing.
And I say leave everything the way it is.
But it might help Carlos, so he doesn't get.
Well, it's one of
position.
these where it's one way or the other, we're establishing a tricky precedent.
Yeah, it's fair.
I feel more comfortable with Carlos working with the petitioner on the building permit side of things than making a decision in the middle of a council meeting to adjust our processes that we were not prepped for ahead of time to do something like that. And I think adjusting something like that in a council meeting at itself, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I kind of lead to, I guess, Carlos, the question for you is, or Mr. Is it any concerns from you moving forward on your side sooner than later?
No, I mean, they started off with permit plans, so I think they should have, the contractor is here.
I don't want to put you guys in a bind either, if that's something that you guys can't from staff timing or anything like that either. So that wouldn't be.
Correct, but I think we can coordinate and get that,
Okay.
that first round going.
If you guys are good, we'll have moved forward. That way, I think it'll end about the same time either way. And I would agree with Chairman Pro Tem on that.
So realistically, when would the second reading be?
8th.
8th, okay, I see. Okay. So
And signage for the building? I don't know if we covered that. I apologize.
I would say on the signage, Lauren and I have talked about it. It would go, if you go forward a couple, you can see the orange door. Oh, wrong way.
We could put a sign there too.
Yeah, you could put a big arrow.
So I think in Lauren, as long as it hasn't changed, her plan was to put AIM above that loading door on that orange panel right there.
But the loading door is not, you're not using that door as an entrance.
No.
Okay.
And just so you guys understand, this space only accounts for about 2% of the entire building. And the way this space lays out, the entry will be on the other side of that orange door, but directly on the other side of the space. So that'll be the main entry point. You're not going to be entering from the Price side, but the way it's laid out, and the previous owner, they were basically talking about mothballing that space because it's laid out so inefficiently for really any other use than recreational or special use. So just because it's hard to get into stuff on the right side of this drawing, which used to be rail loaded, is really tired space that, frankly, Lauren's spending a lot of money that she's investing into the space herself rather than landlord. And the other space, that loading dock comes up and it makes a 90-degree turn. So, I mean, this is really, it sat for a long time where they almost said, let's just forget about leasing it and move on. So
all the more reason exciting to reuse it.
Yeah.
And wish you the best of luck. So we'll move forward then. Any other questions from council?
No.
Anyone in the public have questions to ask?
I just had one quick one.
Then come on up.
So I did represent the landlord when we signed this lease. Is there not more of a, or less of a precedent to have a second reading at the council meeting, first reading and second reading, than to do the drawings early? Do you guys normally, have you never done the second reading?
It's not that we've never done it. My concern is that everything we do, generally, we need to give the notice to the public. So they expect what we're voting on, what we're talking about, which is why we can't bring up random topics and discuss them and just
Fair enough.
at a given time. And so it sets that precedent that we could do something and then people get upset that like you did something without letting us know. I would have come and spoken. I would have objected. I would have brought something up. Whereas this, while staff would not usually work with you until it's put forward, we recognize this is going to go forward. So staff working with you now, I think, puts us in the exact same spot at the end of the day. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we signed the lease, we figured And I actually remembered it at the end, but when we did the paddle and pickle deal, I thought we had a special use permit athletic for the whole building and it was specific to their use. And
Yeah.
So I want them to get going as soon as
And
possible.
we do too, trust
Yeah.
me. So I think this will end up, that's why our question of if it's gonna be 15 days, if it's gonna take that long anyway, we'll approve it in 14 days. Hopefully it's done. We're at the same spot. If that was not the case, I'd be much more willing to entertain at this point. So,
Well, I appreciate your time.
no,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone online?
You know, the only drawback is that I have been frequenting Paris Baguette ever since discovering this place, so.
Yeah, good with the bad, right? You know, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone online? Questions, comments? All right, I will close the public hearing. All right, and then we'll have it the second reading on the 8th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to item 16, surface transportation block. I will have you read it. How about that? Or do I? Is this? Did I miss? Oh, I passed Bill. I apologize. Just kidding. Item 15, Bill 3072. If we can have the title read, please.
Bill 3072, an ordinance to amend section 405.460 condominiums, plats, and additional requirements being part of the subdivision code of the city of Olivet, chapter 405 subdivision regulations of Title IV land use of the Olivet Municipal Code to allow for both residential and non-residential condominium plats and additional requirements. First reading and public hearing.
All right, we'll open the public hearing on Bill 3072 and presentation, please.
Chairman, just for the record, my name is Carlos Trell. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development with the City of Olivet. And this is a text amendment, so unlike having the site plan and illustrations, all the pretty pictures, we're looking to amend our subdivision code, specifically the section referring to condominiums, plats, and additional requirements. The next slide will show the specific section, and the changes in that is to remove the references to multifamily or anything residential. What this does, it gets us more consistent with the Condominium Act. You see there a reference in Chapter 448, the revised statutes of Missouri. They kind of say that we really can't hold a distinction in terms of condominiums, whether they're residential or non-residential, that they can be applied to buildings, a building, replace or the sell of the building in there. I'm hoping I address that correctly with and we're just getting our code more consistent with the state.
This is what most other cities in.
That is correct.
Okay.
Does that also apply to like industrial or office space?
Yes.
As well? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm surprised the word condominium doesn't mean living domicile, but you learn something new every day.
Is there any, with the word subdivision in there, does that word imply one thing or another? I'm not sure what a condominium as a building versus a condominium subdivision.
Condominium is a form of subdivision, so I think when you go through Chapter 405 and go through the definition sections, that's where that term subdivision is representing both a process and then a product of that process too. I think that's what that you're trying to address.
Feels similar to the word dwelling, but again, I don't care. I trust it. This is what the code's going towards, and it gets us clear of that. That makes sense. All right, questions from the council? Anyone in the public online would like to speak to this?
I think there are some items. that
Items for
Trey
the record,
would like
that's
to-
correct, sorry. And it's been through our 2024 comprehensive plan update, the municipal code and zoning map, the staff presentation and memorandum to the Plan Commission dated July 23rd, 2026. In that presentation, and that is part of your link in your staff memo, there are references to what other communities had in there, what they were all doing, all of them being consistent. This public hearing notice, because this is a public hearing and it was posted in the county in St. Louis County on August 10th, 2026. And then we did not have a list of addresses, so I'm sorry I didn't take that off there. And then this presentation before the commission.
Right. Any other questions from council? No. All right, anyone online? Yep, we will close the public hearing and the second reading will be on September 8th.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Council.
you. All right. Moving on to item 16, surface transportation block grant agreement with Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the North Price Phase 1 grant project.
Good evening, Mayor.
Council.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Again, Bruce McGregor, Public Works Director. back in January, work session, we discussed our second application for a surface transportation sub-allocated grant for North Price Road, Section 1 or Phase 1, Old Bonham Road to Delmar. It's a little over 2,100 linear feet. We had applied the previous year and didn't score high enough, so we made some strategic amendments to our application and basically offloaded some of the engineering work out of the grant as the city responsibility to try to meet a threshold to score more points, which is one of the criteria used when the committee is reviewing the grant applications. So we found out a little bit earlier by looking at the agendas for the commission at East West Gateway that we were on the recommended list. And then a couple weeks ago, we got a formal notice from MoDOT, from the local projects administrator, that we were on the list for the meeting this week for award approval, and that they recommended to hit the ground running, that we present our the agreement to council for a pre-authorization to execute the agreement should the board go ahead and do the expected, decision this week. Be glad to answer any questions about the project, the timing, next steps, what we've already completed, anything like that.
Excited about it.
Yeah.
Good snooping.
Yeah, and just FYI as well, since Ameren had been so busy there, we've received notice for them that they've done all of the energizing work on the circuits. They may be coming back into town over the next few months, removing some obsolete cable from the runs, but everything is in service for that load balancing or load relief project for the distribution in University City and Ladue, just since it's in that same area that project is done.
So if we were to get final approval for this, I think this is a question in everyone's mind. When would this project be realistically done?
Well, so that's a very fair question. What we have done last year, we had committed to doing the survey. This year, what we began in last budget year, which is in the spring, was the design work. Our intent is to have our what they call an RER, request for environmental review. So that is a submittal that goes to Jefferson City to basically clear any environmental impacts we have. And that might be more than just like hazardous materials, but like native people or some other social economic impacts along with ecology as well. Are we displacing any bats? The biggest unknown we have is right-of-way acquisition. So we have a 40-way right-of-way width. We want to maximize our existing condition of 2 sidewalks, right? One on either side. We want to have a safe roadway for motorists and for cyclists. And we still want to have that appearance that's, I think feels softer to us, which is a tree lawn. So to accomplish all that and relocate utilities and other things, we need it at minimum a temporary construction easement for grading from probably all of the property owners along the alignment. Okay, so once we start through this process and get the RER submitted, we'll be planning public meetings. We'll be getting the word out, maybe going door to door. Every time I walk around with the vest with the engineer and we're looking at conditions, interested parties come out. So many folks are quite excited about it. But, once you start talking about changing, the side of your house, people, can start to question things. So we always hope that we don't get to condemnation. We've done it before. And on the Old Bonham project, I think we submitted the final court documents 2 or 3 days before our grant expired, which was almost $2 million for that project. So we hope we never get there again on there. So that's our biggest unknown. So the long story short, we would hope to be doing construction per the schedule in 3 years. I'm hoping we can be ahead of that. I'm optimistic that our residents will be enthusiastic. We'll have a nice design, and we'll be able to start the negotiations sooner in the involvement and, get everybody signed off on.
So any type of federal grant or grant run through MoDOT requires the city to do a lot more work, and there are a lot more steps that need to be taken than if we were just doing a regular street project, right? And so that is why it requires a lot more time. Realistically, you know, I would tell people 3 to 4 years. Give yourself a little leeway, because it's not just us that has to do the work. When we do right-of-way acquisition, we do all of that, and then MoDOT has to go through and approve all of that, and we can't get started on the next step till we finish right-of-way. And then plans, MoDOT has to approve all of that. So there's a lot of kind of us doing a lot of work and then waiting on others, and then doing a lot of work and waiting on others. So if you want to give your constituents kind of a realistic answer, 3 to 4 years.
We have the same concerns of hypothetically a gas line that isn't marked where.
Yeah, and one of the challenges is like what we ran into on the cost share project is the area team meets once a week. So, and we aren't privy to the meeting. So they meet, they review, they ask a question. Well, then we have a week to respond. And then they ask another question, and then we have another week to respond. So, you know, it's not like we can make these decisions on the fly. And so that's exactly right. And we follow, and we do everything by the rules anyway, but we have extreme oversight on right-of-way acquisition following what's called the Uniform Act. Okay. It is designed to protect the property owner, you know, and make sure that everything is done, everything is properly appraised, every opportunity is given for the owner to review and sign off on, you know, without being coerced. So, I mean, I always feel good that I know we did the right thing. You know, we always appraise everything. Sometimes we get second opinions. We did that on the cost share project because we wanted to make sure it was such a big acquisition that we were doing the right thing and everything was being fair, you know, for oversight.
So to answer your question, are we going to find something unexpected? Yes. And it could be something positive, unexpected. It might not be something positive. Who knows?
One of the positive that's
I don't know. Could be we need fewer right of way than we thought, right?
Yeah.
There will almost always be something unexpected.
Yeah. All right, fun times. All right. Any other questions? And anyone want to make a
Very
motion?
exciting.
Make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute an STBG agreement with the Missouri Transportation Commission for the North Price Road Phase 1 project, contingent upon final award approval.
Second.
All right, motion made second. Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Jurgel.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman.
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Exciting.
All right, item 17, hearing from citizens part 2. Does anyone in the audience or online wish to make a comment?
We're looking at one person.
Yeah, one person. All right. We'll move on to item 18, review and acceptance of minutes. Anyone have any corrections or notes to call out on the minutes? All right. If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the council minutes from August 11th, 2026.
Second.
All right. Will you please poll the council?
Councilmember Jurgel.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman.
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on to item 19, city attorney's report.
No report this evening.
All right. But we do have a closed session. Yep. Okay. All right. So moving on to item 20, closed session. So can I please get a motion to go into closed session?
I'd like to make a motion to go into a closed session pursuant to the revised statutes of the state of Missouri discussion. Attorney-client privileges communication pursuant to section 610.021 and real estate matters pursuant to section 610.0212.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Please poll the council.
Councilmember Lewis. I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. Councilmember Jurgel.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Pashon Hellman.
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes. All right. We will now close this regular session and move into executive closed session. All right, we'll close the executive session and call the regular session back to order. No major decisions were made. At this point,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
and we will adjourn at 9:45 p.m. Thank you.